Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Shaka Hislop. Kieran Gibbs is here as well. Of course, it's Community Shield this weekend, live on ESPN. James Ollie joins us as well. James, will kick things off by talking about Chelsea. Of course, they set up this kind of, soft transfer deadline with regards to Enzo Martinez. That'll be it. If it wasn't done today, then it will never be done. Enzo Fernandez.
Surely.
It's Friday. It's Enzo someone.
Yeah.
He's still at Chelsea, so is that it? He's not going to go to Manchester City?
Well, if you believe what Chelsea say, then yeah. I mean, I think what they're trying to do, and the reason why they've drawn this deadline when they have is, to make sure this doesn't bleed into the season and kind of give Xabi Alonso the cleanest possible start to the campaign. Now, of course, we don't entirely know yet how Enzo Fernandez is going to react to this because from what we've been told, he and his representatives were given the terms that Chelsea would accept for his departure back at the end of May. And the potential suitors, of which we only think there've really been two, Real Madrid, and they kind of ruled themselves out quite early last month. And then Manchester City have been told you've got to pay £120 million and meet certain payment conditions within that. And I suspect the bulk of that is up front and not reliant on add-ons. And if you reach that and you meet that price, then we'll allow him to leave. And they've decided to say, well, look, we're not going to let this run beyond Friday, and if no club is prepared to meet those terms, then that's it. We're drawing a line under it. But as I say, if Enzo Fernandez reacts negatively to this, and of course he's the one who tried to instigate this at the start of the summer by saying that he wanted to go. His agent was quite public about suggesting, I think to Marca it was, the Spanish newspaper, that they were going to explore their options. And if he reacts badly to this and tries to force through a move, and then City come in late in the window, perhaps when Rodri's gone to Barcelona, then Chelsea's position is going to be tested. But for now, they're absolutely adamant, this is it. He will not go, and he is a Chelsea player. Not just until January, by the way. They've ruled out a January sale privately as well. They're talking about this is it now until next summer, and then they'll, of course, assess it again.
The boys were talking yesterday, Kieran, and they're like 120 million, really, for Enzo?
Yeah, it sounds excessive. I think he's a good player. But, when you compare him to some of the midfielders that Man City have had over the last 10 years that have brought them so much success, I don't think you can put Enzo Fernandez yet in that bracket. I don't think he's done enough in a Chelsea shirt, if I'm honest. He's obviously a World Cup winner and he has the ability to be a world-class player. But the market is overinflated at the moment anyway, and it always is off the back of a World Cup. So, listen, I think, would he go in and replace a Rodri? No.
Very different type of player, obviously.
Completely different. And obviously I think Reinders looks to be on his way out as well. So, it's interesting times at City, but for this move, I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be unhappy if, as a City fan, if they didn't sign him.
How are the Chelsea fans fit? We know supporters in general are fickle. If Enzo comes in, starts the season, brilliant for Chelsea, all of this is forgotten. But Shaka, as a teammate, how much does this bother you? Is this an issue?
From a Chelsea perspective?
Yeah, that you see a teammate off flirting.
I don't think it bothers Chelsea's players that often. You're kind of used to these things happening more times than not, especially when you've got World Cup winners and the talents of both Enzo Fernandez and Enzo Martinez on your books. How you cope with that? You know there'll be comings and goings. That's just kind of part and parcel. I just continue to add that, as I said yesterday, 120 million just seems over the top for Enzo Fernandez. I stand by that. Whether Chelsea are willing to be flexible on that, again, time will tell.
Where do you stand on Chelsea as a whole this season, Kieran? I quite like that. No one's asked my opinion, but I'm going to give it to you. So
go on, tell us what you think, Dan.
You can speak from experience. How much of a difference does it make that you don't have any European football? That Xabi Alonso can pretty much focus on just getting his team ready, getting the best out of this side every weekend in the Premier League?
It's you have to call it a huge advantage in terms of load of a team. But at the same time, when you are performing well in Europe, sometimes that confidence carries into your domestic league.
Right.
So, I didn't play outside of Europe as a player at Arsenal, but Certainly when I was at West Brom, it feels like it's just a completely different world. You have much more time to recover. Tactically, you can do more on the field. And honestly, Chelsea have done some shrewd business this summer so far.
What do you like?
I love Danny Welbeck in there.
Of course you do. He's your old boy.
He's a good friend of mine as well. I have to give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Jordan Henderson, even though he's probably not going to play much, but I think Danny's going to have more of a say than probably what people think. And knowing him personally, he's always wanting to prove a point. So I think he's going to have a big impact at Chelsea this year. But yeah, I'm more optimistic than I was for Chelsea than the last few years. I think whilst they still have huge problems from the top, at least they have someone that's very, very competent in Xabi Alonso.
What sort of impression has Alonso made so far, James, from what you're hearing?
Yeah, positive one. I mean, look, he obviously follows someone in Liam Rossini who, look, I don't want to speak too disparagingly about him because I think he's a good guy, but I'm not sure he ever really commanded the respect of the dressing room. Whereas obviously Xabi Alonso comes in with a much different profile as a coach, much better reputation clearly as a former player as well. And I think he's come in with a clear game plan that has been backed in the market so far and is giving Chelsea a bit of identity. Clearly he's got to hit the ground running. Everybody knows that Chelsea don't have European football this season and need to make a serious play. Don't think anybody's expecting them to win the Premier League, but certainly Champions League qualification is the minimum aim. And as far as I know from a few conversations I've had, that he's impressed people with his ideas, the clarity of thought. And I think the training sessions have been particularly innovative and exciting for the players as well. So, look, I mean, everybody buys into it in August, right? I mean, ask me in November and we'll probably have a clearer idea of where he is.
We saw Enzo Maresca speaking ahead of the Community Shield, speaking about what Manchester City are going to do over the next couple of weeks. What can we expect with regards to that transfer activity, James?
With City, well, I mean, they're in a situation where I think they probably would have liked to get the Enzo Fernandez deal over the line. I think that interest is genuine, but they don't know what's going to happen with Rodri, and I think the Rodri one is a really difficult one for them because he's clearly the best player in the world in his position, but also they know they're going to lose him for nothing in a year's time. And do they say, well, look, they've set quite a high asking price for Rodri for Barcelona, who are getting incrementally closer to that. And if you're Enzo Maresca, you probably think, well, look, I'd actually quite like Rodri for 1 year. Yeah. I obviously, I suspect he will be given time. I think everybody appreciates that he's following one of the greatest, if not the greatest manager in history in Pep Guardiola, and he's going to need everybody on board for that. But, if you're Enzo Maresca, you're sitting there and thinking, well, actually, I need this guy who's, as I say, obviously elite on the pitch, but also an absolute leader off of it. And they're clearly reshaping their midfield with Elliot Anderson coming in. If Enzo Fernandez was to come in as well, and what that would look like and how they're going to really sort of reshape the engine room, it really creates a lot of uncertainty for a manager who, let's be honest, was appointed really as the continuity candidate, right? He was the kind of idea, the guy who, the idea of him essentially was he's worked under Pep. His football is quite similar to Pep. He knows some of the players from or certainly a lot of the staff from when he was there a few years before. Obviously, he left to start managing Leicester and then Chelsea. And he knows the league, so he's got that advantage, but he needs that group and that buy-in straight away. And if he was to lose someone like Rodri, particularly this close to the season with, obviously a week to go, it would be a significant setback for him.
Yeah, you've been there, you've played with big leaders within a dressing room, Kieran. How important, considering the transition we've already seen from City, that Pep has left, that you keep someone like Rodri for what they do off the pitch as well as on it? Yeah,
I completely agree with James. I think there has to be some carryover when you're doing these transitions, especially at this level, especially when you're competing against a team like Arsenal at the moment, who just look like they're just going from strength to strength. So it will be a huge loss. It will be a huge loss actually if they lose him with the other, losing someone like Pep after so long. It's a new era for the club. So I would have to say that I don't expect City to be near the conversation if Rodri leaves, to be honest, next year.
Meanwhile, of course, City are taking on Arsenal this weekend in the Community Shield. We heard Arteta speaking ahead of that game. James, inevitably, is asked about transfer activity. What did he say about it?
Well, I mean, he made the right noises, that they've obviously been in the conversations for a number of players, and they are actively at the moment with Gerald Quansah and Ezri Konsa, the two England internationals, of course, are engaged in Thomas Tuchel's squad for the World Cup, particularly of focus for them at the moment. But I thought it was really interesting, actually. It was the piece I did for the site in the end about how he expressed his surprise about the size of some of the transfers that are going on this summer. Of course, there's 4 players who've moved for £100 million or more. One of them was Morgan Rogers, who was a player that Arsenal were after for several months. And they were trying to lowball Villa for a long time. They didn't feel that the £117 million price tag was a fair reflection of Morgan Rogers' talent. No disrespect to him. He's obviously had a fantastic season. He's a great player. But they felt there was a premium attached to that. And, of course, Chelsea came in and said, bang, here's the money. And it was pretty much guaranteed. I don't think there's a lot, if any, performance-related payments within that. And Arteta, talking to us today, was sort of saying, well, look, I've been surprised you wouldn't have bet on these kind of players going for these kind of prices. So, look, I mean, there's still time, of course. They've got, 2.5 weeks, and I think everybody knows Arsenal need to strengthen. They're in this sort of curious position, Arsenal, I think, that most people have them as title favourites, and yet I think everybody knows that they need to improve their squad. I think particularly in the forward line, of course, they were linked with Vinicius Junior. They were sort of there waiting in the wings, if you like, if he couldn't have negotiated a new deal with Real Madrid. And they're kind of doing something similar now with Bradley Barcola at PSG. And Andrea Berta, the sporting director, has this modus operandi where he'll negotiate multiple deals at the same time and sort of put Arsenal in the position to go and pull the trigger on the one they want to do. And that's great, and it has worked for them in the past. But if you keep putting yourself in those positions, then you don't get that big deal over the line. It does start to ask a few questions of how you're approaching it. So I think they still need 1 or 2 more, really. And I think if they got a defender in, maybe I think for me personally, Konsa a little bit more than Quansah, if I had to pick between the two. And then they need I think a top class winger and maybe a centre forward. We could have the Victor Gyökeres debate again if you want. I think we've probably had it 20 times during the course of last season. But I think they need to bolster that forward line. If they get those 2 in, then I think they're clear favourites. But you just got that sense from Arteta today that he talked a big game after the Champions League final about how they needed to be ambitious, they needed to be bold and brave in the market. And we haven't quite seen it yet. Bruno Guimaraes shining, I think, is a very good one, but they have more to do.
Konsa or Quansah?
I mean, it's really close. I think if you're looking for a like-for-like with Saliba, I would actually say Quansah more.
Really?
Because I think he's got more the physical presence. He's more of an engaging centre-back that can then recover if there's a mistake. And I think Quansah's more of someone who likes to see the game in front of him and be less aggressive to the ball. And we have that with Gabriel. So I would say Quansah's younger, less experienced in the Premier League. And obviously, they're going to need someone that's going to come in and be ready-made. I think Marley Salmon has really impressed me over pre-season. But, being 16, you can't ask him to come in and...
How old are you, Kieran? You were young though, weren't you?
I was 17, but I wasn't... He was
mature. He was a mature 17.
Yes.
But you got to be careful with the young ones. But no, you got to be careful with the young ones because... I always get haunted with players like Jack Wilshere who came in 2010 and had to play 40 games, and then you can get run into the ground and you get injury problems. So these players have to be eased in at the right time. 16's not the time to come in and cover the world's best centre back.
Yesterday we talked about the rules changes that are going to be implemented this season. A lot of them about time wasting. Some suggesting that Arsenal's tactics last season triggered that. Shaka said that. This is what Arteta said. When the rules change, everything changes. The game evolves, so we'll see a change there as well for sure. Brilliant. Great. Thanks for that, Mikael. Kieran?
I'm in favour of the changes.
They're good, aren't they? We were talking about them yesterday. Like, it works in the World Cup, everything moving quicker.
Yeah, and anything to do with speeding up the game.
But is that going to hinder your boys, considering the time you wasted last season?
One season of it.
Boy.
One season of it, and we get absolutely peppered. I can't believe it. But no, listen, I think, anything to do with speeding up the game, especially with VAR at the moment. When it comes to that slowing down the game, we have to find these ways to keep the flow of the game. I think it's really important. I'm a big fan of these.
Let's stay in North London, James. Dangerous times, isn't it, for Spurs fans? Because some of them seem optimistic.
Yeah, that's the hope that kills you, isn't it? No, I mean they've obviously splashed the cash, haven't they? And they've done what I think. You've got to put this in the context of the last, you could say, 20 odd years, where Tottenham fans have been desperate to see their club be aggressive in the market and not have their transfer approach be sort of proportionate to their income or to their wage bill. It's been very aggressive. I mean, you can see the huge sums there. I mean, the idea that Spurs would spend 100 million quid on a midfielder even 2 years ago, you'd have been laughed out of town for even suggesting it. So, look, I mean, they've addressed key areas of the team. I think they know. They obviously, they narrowly avoided relegation last season. They know they're miles off it in terms of the squad, and clearly, it's not just in terms of quality; it's the mentality of this squad as well. They need to reshape the leadership group. They need to find a core group of players who want to play for that club. Christian Romero, of course, is not in that graphic because he's now finally agreed a deal to go to Atletico Madrid. And one of the things that Roberto De Zerbi was trying to do at the end of last season was really sort of begin to foster that togetherness. And I remember being at one of those games near the end of the season where there were players like James Maddison who weren't available, Vicario, the goalkeeper, who was out injured, and he had them just behind the dugout. And it was sort of trying to make them part of the squad when they couldn't be part of the team. And yet Christian Romero, the club captain, was up in the stands, miles away from the rest of them. And you just sort of thought, what kind of message does that send about where Romero is and how fractured this dressing room is? And that's a massive problem for Tottenham. And spending the money is one thing, and they need to show that intent. Obviously, we could get into the whole conversation about how the club was almost sold under Daniel Levy, and these owners are now there and they've got a club that they didn't expect to have, and what are they going to do with it? And I think they've had to show that intent to the supporters, that they can talk about in statements, that yes, we're committed and we're long-term investors and long-term custodians and whatever, but you really need to show that in the market. And to be fair to them, they have done that so far. I still think it's incomplete. I think if you look at that squad at the top end of the pitch, it's still quite weak. But, we look at that squad 2 months ago and we just said central midfield was a major problem, and they have addressed that area. I think Van Hecker is a very good signing for them at centre-back as well. The fact that they've managed to keep Van de Ven, not many people saw that coming, I'd say, at the back end of the season. So you start to look at the spine of the team, and they've clearly backed Kinski, and he's had a lot of criticism for what happened at the Atletico Madrid game last season, but they backed him in goal. They've got that core now of those centre-backs and those centre midfielders. Solanke, I think, is decent up top. I think the wide areas are the problem. If they can have a positive next couple of weeks, they're talking about Savinho, maybe Cody Gakpo as well. If they can get those two in, you do start to look at Spurs and think, well, we can think of them like we used to think of them, which is top 6, maybe top 4. Let's see how they go. But it's an awful long way back. And I think what had happened really at Spurs is, coming back to that culture point, is that a rot had really set in. They'd accepted losing. And it started in the second half of that season where they ended up winning the Europa League, where they said, well, look, actually the Premier League doesn't really matter that much because we're tailoring everything to Europe. And and the guys in the studio, obviously you'll know far better than me, but to turn that tap back on and suddenly say, no, the standards are high every week and every game matters and we won't let standards drop. That's De Zerbi's biggest task, really. But signing those big players and making those statements in the market will obviously only help.
You got mates in this Spurs squad, Kieran. What are they saying ahead of the season?
They're optimistic. I mean, as James said, off the back of last season, I think they had no choice, really, but to repay something back to the club. And they've gone out and spent big money on again, ready-made players. So I think it's a genuine attempt to reset the level of the team. But yeah, I mean, obviously with James Maddison coming back as well, he had a really difficult year. I'm sure he's firing to go, and I think that they look better than what I thought that they were going to be at this stage. Yeah, I'm surprised that they've gone big, 190 million on two midfielders. I'm surprised they've gone that big. But like I said, they had no choice.
What about Florian Balogun? You talk about lack of attacking options. Could he be one, James?
Yeah, it's difficult to know the level of truth in that at the moment. From what I've been told, I think there is a degree of interest, but it's not close. There's nothing imminent. I mean, play this back to me tomorrow when he signs and he's doing the shirt unveiling. But as far as I know, there's nothing kind of active there. I think maybe towards the end of the window, as Spurs narrow down their options, if they feel he's viable, he could be a good fit. Quite how that would go down in the red half of North London, Kieran, you probably know better than me.
You don't see it too often, do you?
No, but still, Monaco, Spurs. Thank you very much. James, can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Are your candlestick holders the same size?
They were when they started.
No, but the one on the left looks bigger than the one on the right. Look at it.
All right.
Put them together.
We're going to do this. Let's do this.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Ready?
Okay. What do we reckon?
Oh.
I'm holding them even now.
Higher. Oh, the actual holders. There you go.
I should have done the whole show like this, shouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly. The old Museum of Illusions. I did that in New York. Don't bother. Waste the money. Thank you very much, James. Much appreciated. Just a reminder, James will be with us throughout the whole season. And it all starts this weekend. Arsenal taking on Manchester City in the Community Shield. That's live, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus and ESPN2. And the game kicks off at 10 on ESPN. La Liga kicks off this weekend, kind of, because there's no Real Madrid or Barcelona. There's a staggered start. They will start the weekend after. So it all starts with Alaves against Getafe, Sevilla against Rayo Vallecano on Saturday. Sid Lowe is here. Sid, I imagine you have some opinions on this. Can we
let's try that again, shall we? Which opinion would you like me to have?
No, you just tell us. What do you think about this staggered start, Sid?
I think the thing that's so frustrating about it was that it really wouldn't have been that difficult to have just waited a week. Just wait a week. You know that you've got a whole load of players who are going to reach the World Cup semi-finals, which is ostensibly the reason why you wait. I think even within that, you could say, well, why is it that Atletico Madrid start on Wednesday and Barcelona and Real Madrid start a full week later? You've staggered the games all across it. On top of this, you've had the extra problem, of course, which is that this weekend, the Celta Vigo Osasuna game has been postponed because of a problem with a pitch, which basically means that the opening weekend of the season has got only 5 games in it.
Of those 5 games, where should we be focusing, Sid, I suppose?
Well, you should be focusing on me, obviously, Daniel. I'll be at Sevilla on Saturday night against Rayo Vallecano.
Oh, what a treat. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sid, and his beautiful tan. Is that it for Sid?
Yeah, no, it's more a red face, Daniel. You caught me halfway through the holidays. I'm not quite finished yet, so I'm not the finished article.
Where are you?
I'm on the east coast of Spain, where the eclipse was very impressive, or it would have been if it hadn't been for that really big cloud that came along.
I love it. Fantastic. Let's talk Barcelona, Sid, as we have quite a lot over the last couple of weeks with Alex Kirkland, who said yes, as you're off looking at the eclipse. Obviously, the plan is to bring in Julian Alvarez. What if that doesn't happen, and why did they let Ferran Torres go without the knowledge that the Argentinian was actually going to join?
Well, I think the answer to the second question is that really and truly the two things weren't dependent. I think even if they'd recognised and accepted that Ferran Torres was, that Julian Alvarez wasn't going to come, and of course they're going to keep fighting for that, and they're going to hope that they can get that deal over the line. Is that Ferran is in the last year of his contract. Part of the clause of the original signing meant that it would have cost them an extra 8 million euros to be able to keep him beyond this contract and extend him for another year. He wanted more first team minutes, although I'm not convinced that he's going to get them at Paris Saint-Germain. He wanted a higher salary, and the bottom line is that they looked at this and thought, given the costs involved, is this the player that we want? And they decided no. Now, that doesn't depend upon the Julian Alvarez deal, but it is, of course, true that if you take a step back and you look at Rashford has gone, Robert Lewandowski has gone. Ferran Torres has gone. That's nearly 60 goals from last season that have gone. And if you don't get centre-forward, whether it's Julian Alvarez or someone else, then to be honest, you're starting to worry about it a little bit. Now, of course, they've made 2 signings in wide positions. And they've now got loads of attacking players in wide positions. So there is that possibility that one of those theoretically wide players plays through the middle and that they believe that that can work. And there's been some suggestions, for example, that Deco thinks that Anthony Gordon can play that role, or at least can play that role at times. And there are alternatives, but there is no 2 ways about it. They're not the alternatives that Barcelona wanting to be relying on.
We talked about it with James. They weren't as optimistic about the future of Rodri compared to what we're seeing in the Spanish press. They think it's almost inevitable he'll be going to Barcelona.
Yeah, and ask yourself the question, I suppose, which is if it was inevitable a week ago when they told us it was basically done, apart from the small matter of agreeing a deal with Man City, and it turns out that's not such a small matter. And I find it extraordinary how often this happens. That we like, it's all right, everything's okay, it's going to happen. So, well, we haven't even seen the negotiations begin yet. And so now, look, of course, Barcelona believe that this will eventually happen. Of course, they'll believe it will eventually happen, if nothing else, because Rodri deserves to get the deal that he wants and the move that he wants, and Manchester City will recognise that. At least that's the Barcelona perspective on it. Now, of course, Manchester City's view on that is, oh, that's all well and good. And he's been brilliant for us, and we admire him. We want him to have the move that he wants, and we know that he's going to go for nothing in a year's time. But, you know, this is still business. And we still want the right fee for him to happen. And I must admit, I think we have reached a point. Now, I still believe it will probably go through, but we have reached a point. But I think it's entirely legitimate to say, whoa, hang on a minute, this absolutely done deal, which clearly wasn't done, what happens if it doesn't get done at all?
He was flying on Ryanair, which gone viral, obviously, Sid, as well, I saw. I sat next to Fernando Torres on an EasyJet flight once. I'm sure he still talks about it.
Well, I'm sure he does. In fact, only the other day, Fernando Torres put an Instagram post up saying, that time I was with Dan Thomas. I pretended to be asleep for the entire flight. I couldn't bear before.
Very nice. Most famous person you've ever sat next to, Sid, on a flight?
Probably you.
Yeah, good. It's the right answer. Well done. Thank you very much. Kieran just sits next to a mirror and looks at himself and goes, oh, yeah, thank you very much. More from Sid in extra time, but the Bicycle Diaries continues as we start a new season. Craig will get very angry that there weren't as many bicycles involved as he wanted in the last season. He's going to hate this then, as Martin's in Tarragona, more specifically the Balearic Sea, and he's definitely not on a bicycle.
About 130 kilometers from Camp Nou, we discover an activity that isn't practiced anywhere else in the world.
The unique activity you can swim with tuna, and I think to swim with fishes like this, 250, 300 kilos. Last year, we did the harvest of one of 682 kilos.
Wow. Is it dangerous?
No, because yesterday, children from 5 years come here to swim in the tuna. A lot of schools come here. It's not dangerous.
With this tuna, they use a technique known as Spurs seining, which involves surrounding school-lost fish with large nets and transferring them alive to farms where they are fed.
Mira, ya hemos empezado a tirar la comida.
Son gigantes.
¡Wow! Eso ya es más grande, ¿eh?
No, ese era increíble, guau.
Oh, lo vamos a pasar genial hoy. ¿Tienen hambre? ¡Ah, mira! You and I are going to be scuba diving today.
Okay.
So we're going to be going at about 15 meters depth, just you and I, going down very slow. About 200-300 tunas are going to be waiting for us today.
Wow.
Okay? And then you realize that you're completely inside the storm itself.
Wow. Do they be close to you? I mean...
Oh, yes. They're very fast. We are very slow.
Okay.
You're not even going to manage to touch them.
I'm going to swim with one of the most extraordinary fish on the planet. He can swim across the ocean without ever stopping.
Aletas por las muñecas. Vamos por la escalera, nos giramos y cogemos las varas, ¿vale?
Estamos listos para esta experiencia única. Ya vi el tamaño de los atunes y estoy muy emocionado.
Oh, wow. Son gigantes. increíble, guau. Es espectacular. Ahí viene, viene. Guau.
Increíble. Espectacular.
How do you find it?
What you told me, the eye of the storm was the most incredible and amazing part. It's like a dance.
I was showing one, you were showing another one, and it was non-stop like this.
It was amazing. Thank you, days.
Spending just a few minutes underwater with an animal that has inhabited this planet for millions of years reminds you of just how vast, diverse, and fascinating our world truly is, and how fortunate we are to be able to explore it. This is the Bicycle Diaries. See you on the next journey.
Sid, can you link that to the start of the new season?
No.
Come on.
Come on. Okay, well, let's. I was actually slightly disappointed that Martin was with tuna because I did know that he was going diving with big fish, and I was really hoping it would be sharks.
Yeah. You need a bigger boat. Sid.
Yeah, we save a Dan for that.
I wouldn't like to do that. That's not in my wheelhouse. Would you scuba dive?
That's probably about as big as fish I'd go. Any bigger than that.
Yeah.
I have done shark tagging once.
What's shark tagging?
With Inter Miami, I did it's where you kind of jab the sharks with a little tracker so that you can track what they eat and how they live. So then you can judge how healthy an ocean is.
How deep did you have to go for that?
No, we didn't. We just pulled them out of the sea. We didn't go in.
What?
Yeah.
You fished for them, caught them, jabbed them, stuck them back in.
Yeah, and then it's a way of learning how healthy an ocean is. By the sharks, because they're at the top of the food chain.
But that's not going under the water. That's just sat there.
Yeah, but that's about as much as I'll do.
Shaq?
I'm on the beach.
It's a surprise.
Yep. There's never been any sharks or tuna up there.
Sid Lowe will be joining us on Extra Time. We have quite the eclectic mix of questions. There's Shaka getting animated about something. Dutch League is on as well this weekend. These games are all live on ESPN+. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. Be sure to stay tuned, though, for Extra Time. We've got some beautiful pictures to show you of what the boys have been up to. Sid Lowe returns as well, and he's included as well in those pictures. Welcome to the latest edition of Extra Time. Sid Lowe. You're right, Sid.
Yeah, I just heard you say something about pictures and me being included. Oh, for goodness sake.
How's my feeling as well, Sid?
Let's just go straight to it. Kieran, you've revolutionised ESPN FC with the suit jacket and plain shirt combo. What other fashion innovations do you think the guys should adopt? Well, during your time off, Kieran, we saw some fascinating pictures from you. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
The one on the right is like Saka at the Champions League final when he's trying to waste time going, what is this? What is this spherical wonder that's in my hand? I wonder.
I think you'd look good in that little polo there.
That's no, it looks good. I just don't know why you needed that one on the right. What was the premise? What were they telling you?
Well, it was this new collection that they've brought out. It was all about root of like where you know, what does the word root mean to you? And
so you just looked at the ball.
Cool.
That was it.
Yeah,
pensive. Give me a pensive look, Kieran, and that was it.
But of course, it's not just Kieran who's done modelling.
Oh.
Sid Lowe.
Oh!
Famously was the star.
Oh, boy.
Has a man ever looked so awkward?
Boy. Eat your heart out, Naomi Campbell.
Yes, look at that, Sid.
Oh, God.
Honestly, right, so basically, the basic talents, in inverted speech marks, that you needed to do that was to be able to walk and to look quite good.
Right.
So they basically chose someone who fulfilled neither of those criteria. I'm hobbling, and the absolute state of me. Why would you ever choose me to do this?
Just so
I'd like to say that the boy going past me looks tremendous, though, doesn't he?
Exactly. That's your boy, so that's all right. But you look so tense.
Right, yeah, he can walk.
Honestly.
Now,
at least his son
what
can
you
walk.
don't see in that footage, Dan, is that we were supposed to go out round, up, round, and back in. I went out and around and back in.
Yeah.
So I got in ahead of people who were supposed to be ahead of me, and basically, my boy came in and said, "Where on earth were you?" So you get the catwalk right.
Let's take a look at Shaka on the catwalk, shall we? This was back in the day when we did it.
You're going to work it. You're going to work it, Sid.
Shaka's walking with his belly out.
I wanted to show off the sponsor.
Company man.
If I'd known that, Shaka, I'd have been on the phone to you getting advice.
Yeah.
Before
Yes.
There we go.
This is closely guarded secret, Sid.
Should we show Shaka in Trinidad just for fun as well?
No, why are we going to do that? Why are we going to do that?
This is when Shaka was asked to do a commercial for Trinidad.
Please.
It is beautiful. Oh, apparently we don't have it. What an anticlimax. Sid, have you begun devising question for Jose in his pre- and post-match interviews yet? On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for those interviews?
Dan, I don't really know how I'm supposed to answer this.
Okay.
Because obviously you don't devise any questions in advance, that's the first thing to say, but certainly not for a post-game press conference because you don't know how the game's gone. Now, the press conference in itself, yes, I could ask a question, only one, and please say your name and your media before you ask your question. The post-game flash interviews that we do here on ESPN, unfortunately, we don't do them with Real Madrid.
No, that's true. That's the way Real Madrid work. For all.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving along.
You were almost mocking the €70 million Barca paid for Gordon after his strong World Cup and with the market going crazy, Rodgers, Anderson, Diamande, Tonali, etc. Do you still think Gordon was overpriced? Who wants this one? Shaq?
I do. And I think testament to that is how quickly the deal happened. Almost bid was tabled and Newcastle like, sure.
Right.
They didn't even see that coming. I think with the other, because and part of that kind of is there was an expectation, maybe naively so, that Rashford would be the preferred target to go to Barcelona, given the fact that he was there. As for the rest, there is an English premium associated with Premier League clubs, particularly with English players. I think Spurs and Tonali, again, that was inflated in my opinion, and probably came down to the fact that Newcastle didn't feel they needed to sell for financial reasons because they just sold Gordon. And Tonali's off, then all of a sudden Bruno Guimaraes, he's added his name to it. Don't get me started on.
All right, Shaq, sorry.
Yeah.
Did you go for free to West Brom, or did they pay anything for you?
No, they paid.
What did they pay?
I only had a year left.
How much did they pay for you?
They paid, I think it was between 7 to 9 million.
English premium.
Bargain, see?
What? Bargain. West Brom fans
got relegated in our first year. Four managers we had.
Arsenal sent 10 million back.
How much? Did we get the official figure? What was it? £7 million. There we are. Lovely.
There you go.
Let's got that place in Miami sorted. Bish bash bosh. Thank you very much.
Saw none of it. I saw none of it.
Sid, what was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, Gordon. How much of a point does he have to prove in Barcelona?
I think quite a big one because I think he was an unexpected signing. I think in a way people have forgotten about him because it got done so quickly and got done so frictionlessly at the very start of the summer as well. And I think there is a feeling that the money was possibly too much. But of course that's the nature of the market. And as the question rightly says, is the names that follow afterwards make you take a step back and think, well, maybe this is more about the market than about Gordon himself. But I think he has got quite a lot of pressure on him. I think as well, there's not an obvious natural place in the team for him at the moment because if everybody's fit, now we talked earlier about the number 9 position and whether one of the wide players, maybe even him, ends up playing in that number 9 position. But at the moment, if you look at it as two wingers, you would say that Rafinha and Lamine are the starters. And so the first point he's got to prove is that he deserves a place in the starting 11.
Kieran, Champions League or Premier League this season?
For me, I think a Premier League really shows this new dominant era of I think they can
Wrong
go
answer,
into.
surely. Surely it's the Champions League. You never won it before?
No, but we've never defended a Premier League title either. So I think for long term, I would be happy to wait another year for a Champions League and get another Premier League in, honestly.
As a player, what would you prefer, Shane?
I'm with Kieran on this.
Really?
Win the league title, yeah.
You never won a Champions League before.
I think if you're Arsenal,
this is the problem, not your ambition's not big enough.
No, but
this is why you rolled over in the final.
Short term.
This is it.
I can tell you're a short term thinker. You gotta show dominance. You gotta show domestic dominance. So I would prefer that at this stage.
Sid, what's your thoughts of the Netherlands hiring Xavi as the new manager? Isn't it a funny coincidence that Xavi is succeeding Koeman again for a managerial job? Did it at Barca, of course.
So that means that Hansi Flick is the next Dutch manager, does it? After
Yep,
Xavi?
that works well.
Just carry along this road. I mean, it was interesting because obviously this broke just after the suggestions that it would be Roberto Martinez, and you thought, wow, Roberto Martinez has somehow done it again, got another country and taken charge. Obviously, this fits in theory the whole idea of the footballing philosophy, and you know, there's nowhere that reflects that better than in club terms better than Barcelona, and nowhere that reflects that in country terms better than the Dutch national team, at least in theory, because the continuity of Cruyff and so on. I think what we saw with Xavi when he was manager of Barcelona, though, was a slightly more pragmatic Xavi. Remember that Barcelona team that won the league under him? I think I'm right in saying they won 1-0 13 times in the league that season. I think he had to accept that some of the changes were there. But I think it's a really exciting one for him, and I think it helps to explain, if he knew that this was at all on the cards, why he turned down the opportunity to take over Morocco for the World Cup, because I think that was a wonderful opportunity. And to be honest, I couldn't believe that he turned it down.
With the docility in the transfer window, Shaq, from Manchester United, do you agree that they are serious about taking a step further next season to become great again?
I like the signings they're signed. Elliot Aronson, I think, is a good signing. Again, maybe we could discuss the
Manchester United.
price. Oh, Manchester United.
Yes.
Why did I hear you say City?
Maybe I did.
Oh, okay. No, I don't see City as being a threat at the top of the...
United?
I don't see United being a threat at the top of the table.
It's pre-season, it's all right.
I don't see Manchester United being a threat at the top of the table at all. I think, you know, you look
Where are
at
they going to
it.
finish?
I'm going to go for 5th or 6th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're nodding, Kieran.
I would have said the same.
Yep, 5th or 6th. Sid, would you like to throw your 2 penneth in?
Yeah, as Shaq was trying to decide then, unfortunately for everybody at home, I went off screen at just that point, but I was holding up 5 hands as well. I would have gone for 5th too.
Oh, you are 5 hands or 5 fingers?
Well, 5 hands. I was trying to hold up 5 hands, but I only had 2 of them. So I had to go for 5 fingers.
So you opted for fingers. Ah, boy.
2 of our panel are doctors, by the way. I think you can choose which ones aren't.
Can you? I'm not sure you can.
Imminent.
Oh, boy.
For Sid, which of the newly... Oh, serious question about La Liga, Sid. Oh, did you send this in yourself? Which of the newly promoted La Liga clubs could spring a surprise or 2 this season?
That's not the one I sent in. I had 3 or 4 others, Dan, that I was better prepared for. No, I mean, look, on the face of it, in terms of the name of the club, it's Deportivo. They're the ones that have made more of an impact in the transfer market. Aubameyang has gone to Deportivo this summer, which is quite exciting, if nothing else. I don't know quite how that will play out. And they have a huge fan base, a huge stadium, a great history behind them. But actually, all 3 of them are really welcome returns. I think I would say, if I expect one to do more than just fight for survival, it would be Deportivo.
Oh, talk about power rankings, Shaq.
Yeah.
Sid could definitely do a power rankings on this.
Oh, okay.
What's your biggest pet peeve, Sid?
Oh, boy.
What, in the whole world?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Crikey. I'll tell you what, if I really went off on one here, we could be here for a long night and a long aftermath.
Yes.
Which, I got the sack and we ended up in court. So
Good.
Let's not go down that route. I am actually, you know what? Here we go. You were talking earlier about some of the changes, the refereeing changes this season.
Yes.
And I'm going to pick up on this because it no longer needs to be a pet peeve. It has been fixed at last. They finally realised how unbelievably stupid and pointless and actually quite offensive it was to make stadium clocks stop on 90 minutes. What for? Well, it's not going to happen anymore, so I don't need to be peeved anymore.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, a pet peeve relief. Kieran?
So pet peeve is something that annoys you.
Yes.
For me, it would have to be when you're on an aeroplane.
Yes.
And the plane lands, and then they park.
Yep.
And obviously, the people at the front of the plane, they leave, and then the second row goes.
Yes.
I can't stand it when people try to cut. I've really
It's similar to when you have a boarding group before you get on a plane, and for some reason, everyone decides
right around.
And are you this group? Oh no! Well, get out of the way.
Can't deal with
it just annuls the whole system. But I think
just don't know what makes people think that they have the right to, and they don't even look. They don't look. They're not like, oh, I've got another flight. You know.
Yeah.
They're just.
Yeah. And then you're all standing at security in the same. Or the best bit is when you're rushing, and then it's a bus. So it just makes no difference whatsoever in your world.
Or the tram,
Yeah, exactly. Shaq?
I don't know. I can't think of one.
No? Manners are mine. If you hold the door open for someone, they don't say thank you.
Well, that's manners, though.
Yeah, it's just that you just...
I'm guessing other people do it. You hold the door open, nobody says anything. So Trinidad just shout, "You're welcome."
Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. I did it. Some of the kids in the corridor. I waited for them to come by, and I went, "Oh, thank you very much." And then they laughed, and I went, "No, I'm being serious."
I'm serious.
So I'm back in HR next week.
Back again. You
I
again.
shouted at them because they didn't say thank you. That's what I wanted. Do you want to add any more, Sid?
No, I do the same as you, but I tend to express it slightly different. I tend to express it with the word you are looking for is thank you.
What also annoys me is Spanish people not understanding English. That annoys me. What's that about?
Oh boy.
He's off on.
I don't know. Oh, he's off.
It's not English they don't understand, Dan. It's just your English.
Ah, mate. Are you going to be there next weekend? I'm there for the for both games.
I don't know if I should say this on air. I've just sent a message to the producer to say I'm a little bit confused because my games don't appear to coincide entirely with Daniel's. I'm there for one of the two. I believe I am at Espanyol Real Madrid on the Saturday night, but not in Elche on the Sunday. I think I'm at Atletico for you.
Oh, that's all right. He's right. You're right, apparently, Sid. But that's all right. We can do something Saturday night.
That needs an interpreter.
Dan needs a lot more.
Not for the words that I need. I know those ones.
Wrap this up before HR is like, oh, it's a double whammy this week.
Final questions for you, Shaq.
What?
When you retire, will it be to Trinidad and Tobago?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh, why not?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. My wife and I have been talking about it. My wife's also from Trinidad and Tobago.
Where do you see your retirement?
Here in the US.
Okay. How long do we have you?
I'll tell you, wheels fall off.
Well, they've been shaking of late.
Sometime next week.
Both wheels. One wheel. Go legging it. I'm doing a wheelie at this point.
You're like a three-wheeler.
I'm hanging on for dear life here, literally. Yep.
Why would you retire here and not Trinidad?
That's interesting.
I just think services and so are better here.
But Shaka, this doesn't help your campaign to promote Trinidad and Tobago, the fact you don't want to be there.
I will spend a lot of time in Trinidad and Tobago, don't get me wrong. So hop, skip and a jump there.
Yeah.
So hop, skip and a jump to Trinidad and Tobago.
Just look at the man looking out to sea. There's something.
What a legend. Oh my God.
Beautiful.
What's that?
Yes! That's how you do it.
No, it's not!
Yes!
No! Yeah, the white jeans, the black shoes.
The black and the white.
Oh,
Look at that again.
Oh, that was
Yes, I take back every criticism of your modelling.
that's beautiful. That's
No,
the way to do it.
no!
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
There's no ball. It's just me.
Oh, man.
Yes.
What?
The grin, the grin.
Oh, you're looking into my soul. Oh, boy.
Wow.
I think that was my MySpace picture back
Oh,
Wow.
that will haunt me. I'm going to fall asleep tonight.
then. Those are the days, Sid.
Were they?
Those were the days. I tell you, my heart is all of a flutter now.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Oh, me and Sid out in the town.
Oh, boy,
Okay.
don't drag Sig into that.
What do you mean? Sid used to be my wingman.
do
Sid had
not-
to translate.
Hold on. Don't drag Sid into whatever we just witnessed. Leave Sid out of that.
Oh, see, his audio's gone. That is it, probably for the best. ESPN FC returns tomorrow for the start of La Liga. Shaq will be covering that.
Yes,
Kieran,
hey!
you're here tomorrow as well.
I'm here tomorrow.
Give it the old cross arm. Give it the old cross arm. Give it the old cross arms on the net as well.
Nowhere.
Oh boy.
Lessons are available on my tutorial page.
On your MySpace.
On my MySpace.